In April of 2019, the Synod of the Northeast launched the Servant Leadership Institute. The Institute seeks to develop, nurture, and deploy new leaders that are committed to working collaboratively with the diverse communities of the Synod. Leaders who will help us meet the complex challenges of being church in the 21st century with creativity and a ground-up perspective. Some of the areas of focus for the Institute included relationship development and management, communications, creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, and resilience. And of course, if 2020 has taught us anything, it has taught us that leaders, strong leaders, need to be flexible and resilient.
My name is Katie Stenta. I'm a solo pastor at a small revitalization church up in Albany, New York. October of 2020, I'll have been at this church for 10 years. So I feel like that I wanted to examine my ministry and, take time to take stock as to where I am and what my goals should be.
My name is Pamela Robinson Smith. I am a ruling elder at Siloam Hope First Presbyterian Church of Elizabeth. And I applied because I'm a new elder. And while the Book of Order is quite informative on telling you what a ruling elder is supposed to do and how they're supposed to be, leadership has different flavors. So I was hoping that this program would allow me to pull from some of my previous leadership roles and figure out how do I apply that in a church setting.
I'm Allison Payden. I am the pastor at Hilltop Church in Mendham, New Jersey. I've been in my current call for about 6.5 years. And when the information came out for Servant Leader Institute, I said, oh, servant leader, that's how Jesus was. It's a great model of ministry. And just, thinking about that, I was like, well, maybe it's time to re-examine and to see just how emphasizing the servant aspect of leadership would be helpful in my current ministry situation. It's a year-long program that, we had our first one-on-ones in September and then our first group meeting in October. And then we were meeting monthly up until Christmas, and then had a little bit of a break and then came back together. But then the pandemic hit and we had to adjust to that. But this idea of a cohort of a learning community for a year, monthly meetings, we had peer partners where we were paired up with other people in the group. We're able to work together through the material.
From day one, I was truly impressed by the number of resources that we were provided, the books, the articles, the poetry, the videos. And Janet, she was so awesome with just being very caring and very nurturing and directing us in directions that we hadn't thought of before. It definitely exceeded my expectation.
Very much talking about, this is your path, and it's at the point of leadership where you need to figure out where you need to go next and how do you reflect where you are in your leadership right now. A lot of resources about who you are as a leader so that you can kind of understand why it is you go towards certain things and why maybe other people rub you the wrong way in certain ways because they've got different kind of goals and different styles of leadership.
I think that was the biggest thing, was we were encouraged to continuously reflect on everything that we were learning. And it wasn't just, read this so you can pass the test. It's more, read this and see how it becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah. And during the pandemic, we met in March, and I have to say that was the most helpful interaction I had throughout, or maybe it was early April, right? But right after everything shut down, that was the most helpful thing, because we already had a bunch of relationship building at that point, because we were 3/4 away through the program. So there was a lot of trust in the room. And also it was with other leaders who were kind of in the same place where you were, where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing next. And this is what I'm grieving. And this is what I'm anxious about. And this is what's going forward. So that was, even though it was not in person, like that was the first Zoom call I got off of. And I went, wait, I feel better, which was really helpful. Okay.
I really enjoyed you ladies. I'm gonna miss it. Miss
I
those
know.
conversations.
I think we need to establish that, each year's Servant Leader Institute, it becomes a cohort for life, and like we meet, we have a Zoom meeting once a year